This is big time, and this is just going to be a story. This has been on my mind all week, and it's driving me insane. Because I don't know who to talk to about it. So let's just get right into it. There's a girl at my church, and she's a doctor, right? Brilliant, surgeon, young, like 24, single, moving to Japan. And my church was applauding her and, oh, you're moving to Japan. And afterward, we're having like the breakfast, the coffee, and talk to your fellow Protestant Christians and all that shit. And I had an opportunity to talk to her, and it ended up with her crying and walking away from me. And I was just trying to ask her. I was like, so I said, are you preparing? Are you prepared for what? I said, are you prepared for the fact that you're never going to fit in? And she didn't understand what I was talking about. I was like, well, you're white. You're not Japanese. And what does that have to do with anything? I said, well, you're moving to a country that's 99.99999% not you. Do you understand? And you never will be. You can, and she was having a hard time understanding. She's like, well, she said, well, I'm colorblind. I laughed even harder. I said, yeah, but the Japanese see race. Are you Japanese? No. I said, oh, okay. So if you go to Japan, how much sushi do you have to eat? And how much sake do you have to drink? And how much Shinto do you have to practice before you're Japanese? And then she does what most white people do when you ask very simple, direct questions. She acts like she doesn't understand. I said, okay, if there's a carrot patch and I throw a potato in the carrot patch, how many years until the potato becomes a carrot? And she said to me, that's a stupid analogy. I said, oh, okay. How about this? My wife and my children and we all have blue eyes and white skin. Let's say tomorrow we moved to an Indian reservation in Oklahoma. Let's say Arapaho. We're the only white people on the entire reservation. How long until they accept us as Arapaho? And she looked at me. I said, how many years would it take? And now she's getting upset. She said, well, they might never accept you. I said, oh, why is that? And begrudgingly, she murmurs, because you're not Indian. I said, oh, I'm not Indian. I said, but my family and we're colorblind. We don't see race. Are you saying the Indians are racist? And she doesn't want to say that. I said, I just want to understand. You're moving to a country where they expect you to act like them. She said, and I will. I said, yeah, but you're never going to be Japanese. I just think you should prepare yourself. I mean, on the way to my church, there's a all Korean church and there's an all black church. And because I'm a motherfucker, I've walked into both and asked if I could worship. Now, at both places, I was stared at by everybody. The Koreans were more polite. They just basically said, do you have your own church? However, when I was at the black church, when I walked in, people were saying, what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck you doing here? It's like that. It's like that. Of course, the church I go to is like 95% white, but there's some Asians and some Indians and a couple blacks. So the other groups get to openly discriminate, even when it comes to saving your soul. But we can't. And I asked her, I said, we passed 2 churches where there are no white people. What do you think about that? Shouldn't we all accept Jesus into our heart? And she said, I really don't like what you're saying to me. I said, yeah, well, maybe you need to think about it. You might be able to make 1 or 2 friends, but that's probably a miracle. And when you're introduced to their family or their group of friends, you have to overcome the fact that you're not them. You are uprooting yourself and putting yourself in a new place where you have no roots. Do you understand? I'm just saying you should prepare yourself and just understand that that's a very high probability that they won't accept you. So I'm saying don't try too hard. You're never going to be Japanese. You are white. You have blue eyes. You have blonde hair. To a lot of these guys, you probably look like a hentai pillow they have. Every anime has a blonde haired, busty girl. Okay? Fairy Tale, Bleach. Like, I, just accept, like, my advice to you is and I gave her some real world advice. I said, look, what you can do is you're going to be in Tokyo, right? You can go online to like the Japanese Reddit and you can find an expat bar. That shouldn't be hard. And these fucking people, like, she doesn't know what an expat is. It's like, look, you're an expatriate. You left your country and you live in another country. And it's like, I'm just saying to you, it's group therapy. Go talk to other people who live in Japan but are not Japanese and are not accepted. You won't feel so alone. Like they will always, you have to assimilate to their country and their culture. It doesn't matter what principles or how colorblind you are. They will always see you as not them. Do you understand? And I don't say this for it to be right or wrong. I say this because that's what it is. Nothing I can do about it. And of course, at this point, she just, now she's upset because I'm the asshole. So a potato can't become a carrot, even if you throw it in a carrot patch. If my family moved onto an Indian reservation, years of oppression, they might never accept you. Oh, I said, but you're different. See, this is my problem with people like you. You expect everybody else to have principles and conform to your beliefs, but you don't have to conform to your beliefs. You're never going to be them. And that's okay. You're not. But don't allow it to stop you from being you. Be you. Impress people with your spirit. So anyway, curious what people think. I'm big time.